here. Carver, you would think City would have their pick of managers, so why Maresca?
Well, Enzo Maresca is a brilliant manager. He is somebody who has worked at the City Football Group before. He was one of Pep Guardiola's assistants when City won the treble. He did a really good job at Leicester City, winning the championship there, getting them promoted. The players there loved him. Look at what's happened at Leicester City since he left. And by and large, he did a pretty good job at Chelsea as well. You can't look back at his time at Chelsea and say it was a complete success. There were lots of ups and downs. But at the end of the day, in his one full season in charge, Chelsea ended up qualifying for the Champions League, winning the Conference League and also winning the Club World Cup. It's been an open secret in the world of football that if Pep Guardiola is going to leave Manchester City, then Enzo Maresca would be the person who would be taking over from him.
Arteta was another one of the apprentices, wasn't it? But things have developed a very different style of football to the one favoured by Pep at Manchester City. How different will Maresca be compared to Pep, or will he be more similar than maybe Arteta?
I think he'll be similar. He plays a similar kind of football. He is very into possession, positional play, very technical. Some of his previous players have described him as somebody who coaches a football team as if he's playing chess. He's somebody who's incredibly hard-working. He spends most of his life at the training ground, poring over data, statistics, watching games from the past, and also one-on-one in a big game. I think he's one of the best managers in the business. I was at the Club World Cup final last summer in New York when Chelsea played PSG. That was a full-strength PSG team. Luis Enrique in the dugout. They did not know what had hit them because Enzo Maresca had come up with such a great plan of how to beat PSG.
So debatable and complicated legacy, even allowing for the fact he's got a claim to be one of the best managers in history. And I would say definitely the most influential manager in history, because football in 2026 is played the way it is because of him.
Just very quickly, John, because we're going to go live to the Etihad in just a moment. Jamie Carragher disagrees with Miguel Delaney in the Sunday Telegraph. Guardiola better than Ferguson in every way. The evidence supporting Guardiola is compelling. So the debates are beginning. Who is the best Premier League manager in history? Jamie Carragher says Guardiola by a long way. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm not sure about every way or a long way, but I do make him the best in my view. I think his legacy, 20 trophies in 10 years, the way that these guys are sort of referencing the way that he has reinvented the game, the way that we look at the game differently. He plays it brilliantly. I love watching Guardiola teams. I think City have been an absolute joy. His other legacy is that common chant, you know, you've got no history. He's given City history. I think the way that the City have handled it, you know, this week, even the sort of Guardiola goodbye on that video, that's class. Yeah. It was sensational. You can't watch that and not have their hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's how you get history, by doing classy things like that. That has been absolutely phenomenal. I loved him on Friday at the press conference. He'll be brilliant today. He's an absolute showstopper, Guardiola. He is the face of Manchester City. City have embraced him. City have created almost a club around him. City are now a global super club thanks to Pep Guardiola and what he's done. They've actually embraced that. They've rewritten the history books. The club have handled it brilliantly. I think, you know, following Guardiola is almost like the poison chalice, but my word, the standards that he set. That's why I think the greats in English football are Fergie, you know, Mourinho, Wenger, Klopp, if you like. And I do think that it's never been harder to win the Premier League. Credit to Mikel Arteta, we'll come on to that, I'm sure. But then basically, the reason why Guardiola sits at the top of the tree is he's done it in the most impossible, difficult time. And he's set the bar and raised it time and time again. Magnificent manager.
Right, let's get to the Etihad as promised. It is farewell to Pep Guardiola, but good morning to Ben Ransom. Ben.
Yeah, good morning from a beautifully sunny Etihad. The perfect weather to say farewell to Pep Guardiola, given it rains 90% of the time. Well, that's how it feels. You can see I'm joined by Jack Gorn from the Daily Mail. And Jack, you've written an intensive deep dive 5-part series into Guardiola's time here, 10 years, all of the trophies, some brilliant anecdotes as well. But as a journalist who's covered 10 years of press conferences, will you miss him?
Yeah, I think we'll all miss him. I think it'll be an emotional day for everybody here today. To be honest, end of an era. I mean, he said in the press conference to us on Friday, didn't he? He was trying to count how many press conferences we've done with him. And he's like, I'm not going to miss you, basically. I think he'll miss it. There'll be elements of Manchester that he really misses. He'll miss the club. There's some players coming back, old players coming back for this game today, like Ilkay Gundogan and Edison. But it's going to be, as I said, it's going to be a really, really emotional affair, I think.
Yeah, I had to go at totting up how many questions I'd asked him, and it was in the thousands, and that was quite embarrassing because I was trying to think of the good ones, and I'm sure that you could probably count them on one hand. But he is not always the easiest to deal with, but I think the last few weeks we've seen a much more relaxed Guardiola. He wants to enjoy this final period. That's been clear.
Yeah, I think once he definitely decided what was going to be happening, his shoulders just dropped a little bit, and he was far more relaxed in sort of the sort of press conference setting. It feels like he settled quite a lot of scores this year, particularly with the referees. He's made it his mission to get quite a lot of digs in with the refs, which has made him great copy over the last 9 months. And yeah, he's just, I mean, you've been to as many as I have. The way that he talks so openly about societal issues and things like that has just made him like such a fascinating guy to speak to.
Yeah, what about the last 10 years in terms of things we might not have seen? I've been keeping tabs on your series. There's some fantastic anecdotes. Anything that you learnt about Guardiola that, despite all of those press conferences, surprised you?
Yeah, there's a few things. Probably the funniest, or the one I enjoyed the most is like there's this legend around him about him being a control freak and things like that. And in the first few weeks of him arriving here 10 years ago, he decided it'd be a really good idea to turn the Wi-Fi off in the training ground around the dressing room, basically so the players weren't on the phones and they were all talking to each other. And this was taken as read that the Wi-Fi was just off. And someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, you do realise that they had to turn it back on after 3 days because the medical team are next door and they couldn't send any of their stuff they needed sending. So I thought that was quite funny. And there's been loads. Lots of people have wanted to sort of talk glowingly and give little bits about him, like admonishing airline staff for not presenting food properly on flights back from friendlies, and interesting little bits from training sessions. So it's been really, really fascinating to do.
And what about the last piece today? What's in there? What can readers see as they, I don't know, jump on the tram to get here to the stadium for the final farewell?
Yeah, well, I think the most interesting thing I found out about for the stuff today was his perfect cross. So you would normally sort of think that maybe he likes to drill across the 6-yard box, like we've seen that famous City goal so many times from years ago that Sterling's waiting at the back post just to tap it in. But someone said to me the other week, is that actually his perfect cross is just a floated one to the back post that is really easy to looks really easy to defend, but actually the trajectory of it means that you can't get as much purchase as a defender. And the reason he wants that is so his players win the second balls. And I think that's just quite illuminating in what he's like as a coach, because you wouldn't think Pep Guardiola will be thinking about second balls and basics of English football, really. And it probably shows why he's so close to people like Tony Pulis and Neil Warnock, really.
Well, I was going to say, he's embraced English football, and I think that's what's been fascinating to watch, isn't it? We've seen maybe three and a half iterations of this team. He's changed the style every time, and that middle team, particularly the one that won the treble with 4 centre-halves and big Erling Haaland up front, there's an element of that kind of Pulis, Allardyce, Warnock style.
There was a training session this season that he stopped 3 times. The first one was to tell the players to switch it, which sounds like Hackney Marshes. The second one was because they weren't winning the duels, and then the third one was they weren't winning the second balls, and he nailed them in training. And that, it's just like I was saying, that is English football, isn't it? And those fundamentals are what has driven them to so many trophies over the last 10 years.
I will like to get in. I'd managed again one final time to try and convince Pep this week that the Community Shield does not count as a major trophy. He's always going to claim it. But either 17 major trophies, 20 total trophies. We're never going to see this again, are we, up here?
Never, no. I mean, you wouldn't want to be the next guy, would you? You've got to really trust yourself that you can sort of have that personality to win people over and drag people with you. And there aren't many people that could possibly do it. And it's, yeah, you won't see the like of it again. I don't think in the Premier League we'll see the like of the dominance that someone, you know, people talk about Ferguson, and there's an argument for Guardiola and there's an argument for Ferguson being the best that the country's ever seen. I mean, the amount of trophies and the style and the way that Guardiola's done it, particularly after the first year, there were a lot of people that said, can't come over here and do that. Like, don't be doing this. A lot of mentions of Stoke and Tuesday nights and things like that. And the way he's done it has been absolutely phenomenal.
I don't know what your favourite team was. I absolutely loved that 2017-18, but particularly the 18-19 season when they hunted down Liverpool. John Stones' goal line clearance, the way they came back in that title race was incredible. The football they played was amazing. How about for you?
It has to be the Centurions, the 17-18, like you said. It's just because that team came before every opposition would come here and put 6 on the 18-yard line and play in a really low block. That season was when teams still thought they could have a little go at them, which meant there was more pockets for them to play, and they were just sensational. Like Sane, Sterling, Aguero, De Bruyne, David Silva. If you give them any sort of room, then yeah, they are going to win 100 points and they are going to score over 100 goals.
Well, we get to enjoy it for one final time today. Actually, the Etihad is as busy as I've seen it this far away from kick-off. They're selling some special commemorative shirts to mark this game, and then obviously we'll see Pep Guardiola and the Manchester City players on the pitch for the final time as a group against Aston Villa in the 4 o'clock kick-off, and then tomorrow there'll be a huge celebration of everything that Pep Guardiola has achieved here at Manchester City. 17 major trophies in 10 years. It's been an incredible ride for those of us up here.
Jack, thank you very much for now. Just before we go to a break,